Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm on our Google for Education team. And in just a moment, I'm going to bring on Lauren and Morgan from our marketing team to give you a sneak peek of the latest. So we'll just give folks another moment or so to join us. And while we wait, would love to hear who's here. So a bunch of you have already started to introduce yourself and would love if the rest of you could say hello using the chat. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Kristen. Okay, wonderful. So we are just about at time. So let's start getting started. We have a whole bunch of content to cover today. So as I mentioned, for those of you who just joined, hi, I am Amanda, and I'm on our Google for Education team. I lead our coach program, and also backstage is May, who many of you know, who leads the trainer program. And later this afternoon in the second session that we'll be doing, Dan from our Innovator program will be around as well. So thank you, coaches, trainers, and innovators for coming today. We are so excited to see you guys. And we are really looking forward to giving you a sneak peek of all of the different launches that are coming up for this back to school season. As was mentioned in our email, we're having a big event on August 11th called the Anywhere School. And this is really an opportunity today to, again, get a sneak peek and kind of a heads up on what's coming, and also get to ask questions so that you guys can understand the latest and greatest. So with that, I will bring on Lauren McCann from our marketing team to tell you more. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, morning, Amanda. Morning, everyone. Hello. All right, I guess I'll just take it away because we only have a little bit of time together. But as Amanda mentioned, I'm Lauren from our marketing team. We may have Morgan joining us, but she's having a little bit of technical issues, so it might just be me today. But I'm joining you from rainy New York. I saw some people in the chat said about the storm, so fingers crossed that nothing happens and we can just get through all this together. But before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone that what we're sharing today is under NDA. So please don't share any of this, even though some of it is exciting, with anyone who's not under NDA until August 11th, which is when we're having our big Anywhere School event. And after that, you can just tell everyone. We want you to tell everyone. But for now, if we can just keep this between us, I mean, we really appreciate your support and cooperation in doing so. So today we're going to cover a few things. First, we're going to talk about what is launching. 2, we're going to talk about what resources are available for all of you. And 3, we're going to do a fun little Kahoot, actually. I'm a former teacher myself, so I always love those type of interaction things to test what we learned and to make sure everyone has a complete understanding of all the new products. So pay special attention to what I talk about today. All right, so back to school. Everyone here is probably very familiar with the idea that Google does a back to school event. Normally we tie that with ISTE and then release a lot of our products in August, right before a lot of North American schools are going back. But we're all living in a completely different world in more ways than we can count. And so we're doing something different for back to school. As a lot of folks have said, we have a great quote here from the UNESCO director that never before have we witnessed educational disruption at this scale. And I'm sure everyone on this call has felt that very acutely. You have been on the front lines, making things happen, transforming education in real time. And so as a result, we're also Google adapting. And so we're going to host a virtual event called the Anywhere School. A lot of you on the call may have heard of it, but if you haven't, it'll be a big virtual event that's going to be global. We're talking 19 different markets, 32 different sessions, 24 hours over the course of August 11th and 12th. So we're going to sort of do a follow the sun format where we'll start in North America and go all around the world with content so you can learn not only from teachers and educators in your backyard, but also what folks all around the world are doing. And so for this presentation, I'm going to give you an overview of the event, sneak peek of some products, and then some details on how to get involved. So a little bit more about the event. Like I mentioned, it's 24 hours of content, though you're definitely not expected to stay up for 24 hours unless you're someone who's into that type of thing. So you're able to experience the sessions that make sense for you live, and then you'll also be able to watch all the sessions on demand after the event. And you're going to hear from tons of different educators, tons of different thought leaders in this space, as well as Avni Shah, who is our VP of Education at Google, Katie Kurtz, who runs all of our content partnerships for learning at YouTube, as well as the famous Sal Khan, who's the founder and CEO of Khan Academy. And I'm sure they're all going to have amazing things to share. And so in addition to those sessions, we're just going to cover a bunch of different insights about how you can adapt and help your schools adapt to dealing with COVID, as everyone's taking a different approach, and offer up different perspectives from educators and policymakers around the world, as well as a lot of practical advice from everyone who is using Google for the very first time, all the way to really experienced folks. All right, so I'm going to get right into it, but I just wanted to say to this group, you are the first one outside of Google to hear any of this, so super exciting. We 100% trust you with all this information and thought you are like the best people to know about this and make the most use of it. So a lot of that trust also comes with the responsibility, so please just keep it tight for now, and just next week we'll be able to share all of this with everyone. But thank you so much for dialing in to hear about it first. All right, great. So today I'm going to give you a sneak peek. We're going to cover improvements that we're making to all of these different products. So how we're improving Meet to make it more engaging, how we're giving teachers and schools more visibility into Classroom, and so on and so forth. All right, so Google Meet. This is a product that has become a lot more important for a lot of folks on this call, as well as for Google in the last few months. And we have been working around the clock to make sure that Google Meet works better in schools. And while that learning experience is our central focus, we also want to make sure that Meet works better for things like teacher collaboration, for parent-teacher conferences, for faculty meetings, even extracurriculars. We figured that if we can't be together, Meet can be doing more to bring all of us together. And so a lot of folks, we heard, overwhelmingly asked for new security features to make Meet more safe, and to have additional moderation capabilities. So we started by recapping a few things that happened last month, and we'll share a couple other things that are coming to make your classrooms more safe. So the first one is the ability, we're going to be updating the interface so that you can start your classes and meetings more smoother with a setting that requires the moderator to join first. And we'll also allow moderators to bulk accept knocks, so you don't have to like let everyone in every time someone is joining. So those are some knocking improvements. We're also going to be blocking anonymous attendees by default for all education meetings so that schools make sure that no unwanted participants are joining meetings, and schools that want to be able to allow this will be able to still opt into this capability, but by default will be blocking anonymous folks. Moderators will also now be able to disable in-meeting chat for participants, and you can also restrict who's able to present and talk during meetings. So some other capabilities there for moderators. Moderators will also be able to mute all students and participants at once, so you can have the sweet sound of silence when you need it in your classes. Moderators will also be able to end meetings for all participants, so we have no students lingering in the virtual hallways of our hybrid classrooms. And finally, participants won't be able to knock again after they've already been ejected from a meeting, right? So if you have a participant who, for some reason, you want to leave them out of the meeting, you can eject them and they won't actually be able to come back in. Or if they've knocked twice and you've rejected them, they won't be able to keep knocking, which is great. And so this is kind of just like a preview of what some of those features would look like. You will be able to like see right here and control them right within the Meet interface. So very simple to make sure that you have more control over your classes. All right, so in addition to moderation features, we're launching a whole slew of things that allow you to make your classes more engaging, right? One of the things we've all learned firsthand is that it's almost impossible to have a super engaging classroom when everything is online. And so we're creating capabilities that will make that a lot easier. So this is kind of an overview of all of the features. I'll just run through them quick and then talk about them at length. So we're going to have a larger tiled view, so you can have a 7x7 grid for 49 participants at once. You'll be able to have custom and blurred backgrounds, hand raising, a digital whiteboard, closed captions in additional languages, as well as low light mode. And yes, to the chat, I will be stopping and pausing for questions about Meet and Classroom after each of the sections, so you can hold your questions there. All right, awesome. So the first one is larger tiled view, pretty self-explanatory. Right now, a lot of you know in Meet, it's 4x4. We're increasing that to 7x7 so that you can see all of your students at once. We are also making it so that you feel a little bit more comfortable in your home, right? You have the ability to blur your background so people don't have to see the laundry that you didn't put away. You'll also be able to add custom backgrounds, and admins will have control over being able to make sure that students, if you want, they can upload their own backgrounds. We know maybe some schools don't want that, so you'll be able to turn that off, and students can easily choose from blurring the background or choosing some professional appropriate options that Google has set up. You'll also will be able to do hand raising, right? So this is great. So students can signal when they have something to say, or maybe when they need assistance. This will be a great new feature for classrooms. With the digital whiteboard, we'll be integrating Jam right into Google Meet so that you can do a lot of creative brainstorming with your students and really bring some of those tactical elements that you normally have into your class onto your virtual meetings. We are also going to add closed captions in additional languages, right? So a lot of you are familiar with this tool, that it works really great for English right now, but we're also launching it in additional languages if you're in a market that's not English first. And then we will also be doing improved video in low light mode. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play this video so you guys can see how it works. And sorry, not sure if you guys were able to hear that. I heard it on my end, but we'll try to fix that for the next one if we didn't. And yes, to your question, Luis, those are features that are free for everyone. And now I'm going to cover the features that are part of Google Meet as part of G Suite Enterprise for Education, right? So our premium paid offering. So that will include things like attendance tracking for meetings, breakout rooms, Q&A, polling, translated in real time closed captions, noise cancellation, as well as the ability to do live streams with out-of-domain viewers. So to get into each of those, we'll be doing attendance tracking for meetings. So this will be really great for you to be able to see things like how many people signed into your meeting, how long they watched for, how many people said that they were going to be at the meeting, but then were able to attend. So all of those insights will be available for you as part of Enterprise Meet. And then also coming soon, you'll be able to do breakout rooms, right? So this is awesome. So you can have simultaneous discussions with your class in real time. You can break folks up based on interest, based on skill level, based on their projects. And so that will really give you a lot more flexibility to run your classes. And you'll be able to do Q&A, right? So at Google, we have something like this called Dory, and you're able to upvote questions, delete questions that might be inappropriate, and just get a sense of things that your class is wondering about. And similarly, we will also be adding polling. So this is a really great way to kind of test the areas that your students maybe perhaps need a little bit more improvement, or even to do things like, how are you feeling today? And be able to get a pulse on how your class is doing. As part of G Suite Enterprise, we'll also be making the ability to translate captions in real time, right? So if I'm giving this presentation in English, you'd be able to turn it on and get captions translated into French, German, Portuguese, all in real time. So this is really great for ESL students. And then you will also be able to do noise cancellation. I'm going to skip this slide since apparently you can't hear the video, so noise cancellation wouldn't be as compelling without the noise. So I will pause here for some questions. Will we be able to monitor all breakout rooms? That's a good question, Jennifer. I want to give you like a super clear answer. So we're actually sending around an FAQ doc afterwards with questions about all of these. So I will punt that one for there because I want to double check on that, but I believe the answer is yes. Will there be a way for teachers to delete the chat if the information is inappropriate? Also a good question, Amber. I will double check on you. I don't believe that's on the roadmap. I think it's more of a linear, can you turn chat on or off? Not that the teacher can like delete chats, but I will double check with you. When will these go live? Great question. We're actually getting all of that information bundled up right now, and we'll be sharing dates on August 11th at the back to school event. Will everyone be able to edit the Jam at the same time? Yes. And then the moderator controls are free for everyone, right? So we want to make sure safety and security is available to everyone. We don't want there to be any bar to entry there. So all the moderation features will be free. A bunch of engagement features will be free. And then some of these other more advanced capabilities that will be part of Enterprise. Yes, and admins will have lots of controls over what is available and what is not. So we're working on all of that. Rolling out across different times. In the sake of time, I'm going to keep rolling to the other sections, but we can have some Q&A time at the end as well. All right, so moving on to Classroom, lots of exciting things here. This is kind of an overview list, but we're going to make the ability to share links to your class so people can join by code as well as by link. We're making some improvements to the to-do functionality, adding some additional languages, as well as having some updates to our grade export capability. And we also have some additional things coming for admins. So the first of these is the ability that, today you can either directly add students to Classroom or you can send them a code, right? But we know in a lot of emerging markets, actually folks lean much more heavily on things like WhatsApp or other communication platforms. So this way, it'll make it super easy wherever you communicate with your students to send them a link so that they can join the class directly right there. We also are adding the to-do list functionality right up front on the classes page so that students can easily know what's due, what's missing, what has already been graded. We've heard that from a lot of students and teachers that during this time it's been really challenging for students to know what's due and when, because we're not able to track them down in the hallways about, hey, your essay is missing. And so this will help students be self-empowered to understand what assignments are due and when. We're also launching Classroom in the top 10 Indian languages. So we're seeing Classroom really explode in India and are super excited to serve that market. And so we'll be adding 10 languages there, and Classroom is actually already available in 45 different languages. So hopefully now we can serve a lot of people all across the globe. And we're always looking to expand that set as well. But those are the ones for now. We are also going to be going to GA for grade export with our first partner, which is Infinite Campus. So any Infinite Campus users starting on August 11th, this integration will be available to all of you. We are also working with a number of SISs that are OneRoster compliant to go make those available to their customers as well. So, but to start, we're going to go with Infinite Campus, and we're still working with a bunch of other partners to make that possible for the other SIS customers. We're also launching a lot of stuff for admins. And so we're excited to announce that, for Classroom, admins are always looking for additional insights and resolutions to their problems. And especially now, as we've transitioned all to this hybrid learning environment, they want to be able to know better how to resolve issues. And so now admins will be able to get right to the issue, to the root of the problem with Classroom-related issues through audit logs in the admin console. So they'll be able to do things like identify Classroom-related issues and pinpoint where problems are actually happening in real time. And then for our enterprise customers, we are going to make it so that they can receive access to Classroom usage analytics that are customizable templates in Data Studio, and that will easily connect them to BigQuery log exports. So with these templates, admins will be able to see things like how active classes were, which features are being used most commonly across their school, which teachers are assigning different types of assignments, and how those are being graded and stuff like that. So they'll be able to really pinpoint those and get a really clear sense of how their school and district is using Classroom across the board. And so in addition to those, at our event, we will also be announcing for the first time ever a public roadmap for Classroom. And so these things won't be available probably for like a little bit further on, but we wanted to let everyone know that we're really invested and committed to Classroom and making it a better product for everyone around the world. And so these are a couple items that are on our roadmap. We're doing a bunch of things to allow for teachers and educators to have more measurement and insight into how engaged their students are, right? When you previously were sitting in class, you could look around and say like, oh, Lauren, she seems to not be paying attention. It's a lot harder to do that now in a digital environment. And so we're going to make it easier for teachers to see, how many times their assignments have been viewed, maybe who hasn't seen it, things like that, so that they can track it. We are also going to have improved integrations with lots of content and assessment third-party products, right? So we know that a lot of teachers rely on third-party products to do things like bring content into their curriculum, to do formative assessments, and now those will be integrated directly right into the Classroom interface. Well, not right now. It'll be to come. It's on the roadmap. We're also going to make Classroom available offline for students who have intermittent internet connection. We know that's been a big issue that COVID has really put an emphasis on, is that not students always have access to reliable internet. And so we want to make that easier so they can access what they need on Classroom, even without a connection. And we are also going to make it a lot easier to scale and provision classes at scale. Okay, so I will pause back at Classroom. Are there any questions on all of that? When will the Classroom updates be available? All of those things are coming soon, and we will have updates at the back to school event in the blogs with very specific dates. But all of this stuff that I just highlighted right here is on the future roadmap, and we're sorting that out. By the end of August, we'll be releasing a roadmap with tentative dates. All right, I will just keep chugging along then. No-RICS text formatting. Yes, that's a good question. It's definitely something on our roadmap, but we're not super far enough along to commit to it, but definitely feedback that we've been hearing and we'll be working on. All right, so I'll move right along to originality reports. A lot of you are probably familiar with this tool. Went into beta last year around this time of year and went to GA for everyone last January at BET. But originality reports is basically our version of a plagiarism detection tool that will allow you to basically see potential matches for plagiarism in your students' work, as well as help your students identify places where they potentially have missed making citations for outside ideas that they should have marked. Okay, great. So for originality reports, the updates are that now you will be able to run up to 5 assignments for free per class. So in the free version, previously you could only run 3. Maybe you would do like your midterm paper, your final paper, and a group project. Now you can run it up to 5 times, which is great. We'll also be making originality reports available in a bunch of different new languages, which is great. And you will also be able to run originality reports on things like Google Slides, in addition to Docs. And then for our enterprise users, we're really excited to share that the ability to match student work against each other will now be available for all of our Giuseppe users, right? So for free users, they can match against hundreds of billions of web pages. Google has the largest web corpus in the world. They can match against, I believe it's over 40 million books and all their passages. But for enterprise users, now you can match against students within your district. So this is just what it looks like. You'll be able to increase from 3 to 5, which is really great for all of our teachers out there. We've heard your feedback. This is what it will look like to be able to print and download and format your reports, right? So for those of us who want to bring a piece of paper with the report or email to the parents, this will be really helpful. Additional languages speaks kind of for itself, but really exciting for our different markets so that we can be more accessible there. And then you'll be able to run on Google Slides. So that will be coming soon. The last bit I wanted to cover is a little bit more about school matches, right? So this picture shows you how it will work. In originality reports, at the top, you see the student's passage. Normally you're linked to the web match and where that goes with the URL. In this case, it will direct you to another student and their paper. Now, the thing I want to highlight about this is that in comparison to some other competitors, all of the data and all of the papers in your repository that we match against are entirely owned by your school, right? So your admin has complete control over what goes into the student repository. They can add things, they can remove things, and all of that is owned and managed by your school. Google doesn't have access to any of those student papers, and so that way things can really stay within your district and are not going out publicly anywhere. All right, so I'll pause here for questions. When will the feature to match against students be available? So that is launching as part of our August 11th announcement. So it will be available, I believe, within a few weeks. Any other questions? Oh, enterprise users. Sorry, yeah, I forgot to mention that. Enterprise users, 2 of the benefits to having enterprise for originality reports is that you have unlimited runs. So you could run every single assignment if you wanted to through originality reports, and you also have the ability to match against students. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. But that has not changed. All right, cool. On to the next. Google Assignments. I'm super curious in the chat, how many of you guys have heard about this feature or this new product? I'd be curious. Well, so Google Assignments basically is an application for your learning management system. So if you're using something like Canvas or Moodle or Blackboard, now you can bring the best of Google assignment workflow and bring it into your LMS, right? So it's a faster way for you to distribute, analyze, and grade student work, all powered by G Suite. And so this is a quick GIF to show you what it looks like, right? You log into your LMS. In this example, it's Canvas. You go to create an assignment like you normally would. Let's call this like screenplay, rough draft. We add an external tool. We select Google Assignments. We link up with our Google School account. And then you can turn on things like originality reports, add a file so that every student gets their own custom template for a worksheet. You could also upload a rubric or things like that here. And then you just publish the assignment like you normally would so that your students have it available. And as you can see, it's just like sits right there in the LMS in the iframe. Yes, so some people say it seems to duplicate what you can do in Classroom. That's totally fair. It actually lifts a lot of the functionality from Classroom and makes it available for people who are using a different LMS, right? So let's say that previously you were using Classroom, but then during coronavirus, your school decided everyone needs to go on Canvas. But you're like, oh, I still like using parts of Classroom. Now you can use the best of Classroom inside your third-party LMS. Any other questions on assignments? We're familiar with assignments, but we're G Suite district, so not too much use. Yeah, hi, Holly. Okay, cool. Yeah, and just a clarifying thing on this, like if you are a school using Classroom, like keep using Classroom. Like you have the best of assignments built into Classroom. Keep going on Classroom. Class assignments is really just for those who are using a different LMS and want to integrate some of that G Suite functionality into it. All right, so I will move right along to talk about some Docs updates. So we'll be launching Smart Compose and AutoCorrect, which some of you may be already familiar with in education, and also citations. So Smart Compose, really cool. You've probably seen it in your email. It allows you to really cut back on repetitive writing and reduce some of your errors. I will note that a lot of schools maybe are not that keen on having this for their students, so admins can control turning this on or off for their students. And also similarly autocorrect, right? So it helps catch up to 60% of misspellings will automatically be corrected. If some of the corrections are wrong, you can double back on them, but this will make it easier for students to not worry about some of those silly little errors. And then the really exciting thing is that we will be launching citations within Docs. So you can see here in the GIF, really easy to like add in your citation. You can select if you want it to be MLA, Chicago, some other style. And then you can insert it right into the paper, as well as create a bibliography at the end. So all of that will be automated. Students still have to enter everything. So it's not like we'll automatically detect the source for them. So they're still like getting the exercise of learning how to cite others' ideas, but it will make it a lot easier to format it in Google Docs. Any questions about Docs? Yeah, Patrick said we had a teacher who missed using Classroom, but they liked assignments in Canvas. Great. Awesome. All right, so now I will move along to talk about Chromebooks. We have a ton of stuff here, so I'm just going to fly through this quickly in the interest of time. So we will be making accessibility features now available in kiosk mode. We will also allow organizations to manage their accessibility settings at the level of the Google Admin Console. You'll be able to do additional searching and sharing functionality in the App Hub, and we're launching new partnerships with app partners like Classcraft, Nearpod, Screentext-ify, and TextHelp. You'll also be able to now use Android apps on Chromebooks, and we are also launching Minecraft Education Edition on Chromebooks, which is awesome. We've been hearing requests for that for a long time, and we're also just making it a lot easier to purchase the Creativity App Bundle, which includes these 6 partners that I have listed here. So this just shows a little bit more about the kiosk mode and the ability to manage organizational accessibility settings at the Google Admin Console level. So we're just really trying to make it a lot easier to have accessibility built right into Chromebooks without question. We're also going to give admins more control over the policies that they have in the Chrome Education Upgrade. And so you will have new device management features like print and policy management, accessibility, device policy settings, and more. So a little screenshot of what that will look like. We're also going to increase engagement with the Chromebook App Hub. So this is one of the areas we're super excited about that we launched last year. Chromebook App Hub was built to give educators and admins more insight into the incredible apps that are available for them for teaching and learning. And so now for IT admins, there's information on accessibility and data policies as you make decisions about technology in your schools. So as you check out new features with App Hub, you'll see that the apps pages has now options so you can filter by integration, purchase plan, and more. And you'll see a new search functionality with a related ideas carousel to give you more sorting options. And when you click into the app, you'll now be able to share it directly with admins and fellow educators so that they can find ideas about who author. There's educators who author different ideas about how you can use those apps in the classroom. So now you don't have to think like, oh, this seems cool, but how would I use it? Other educators have done that lift for you, which is great. Next one is, as I mentioned, the ability to have Android apps on Chrome, right? So the Chrome OS team continues to invest in modern, powerful, widespread app platforms with a strong focus on the web. And now you'll be able to use Android apps on Chromebooks. So in schools, IT admins can control all aspects of the Android user experience on Chromebooks, including being able to choose the apps that users can see in their managed Google Play Store. And for all of your school administrators, be sure to check out our Help Center article on the best practices for deploying Android apps across a fleet of devices. And then, like I mentioned, Minecraft, one of the most popular educational apps on the market, is now available on Chromebooks, and you can access Minecraft, an Android app, directly onto your Chromebook. So we're excited about that one, now available. And then finally, last thing I would cover is making it even easier to purchase these apps. So like I mentioned, we have this creativity bundle that's made up of the 6 partners you see here. So we have Infinite Painter, Squid, Book Creator, Soundtrap, Explain Everything in vVideo. And we've created a really simplified workflow for admins to be able to purchase and manage and deploy these apps at scale. Okay, great. Any questions on that? Accessibility settings are great. Citations and docs. Yes, citations and docs. Yeah, it's basically just like an up-level version of that. So if that was like phase 1 of the citations experience, this now makes it like a lot easier and a more robust experience so that you can like fill them out and create a bibliography with one click. Word, help them write the citations. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jennifer. I'll share that feedback with the team. All right, so the next thing I'm going to share about is Family Link, right? So a lot of you are probably familiar with this. It's the account that you would use with your student. And now we are creating something called school accounts. So with school accounts, you can approve apps and extensions, set the time limit, and use content filters to set boundaries about when your kids are signed on to work on school activities. And we are also launching a really cool thing that we're calling the Tech Toolkit for Families and Guardians. So we know a lot of educators, they're hearing from parents more than they ever have before about what is Classroom? How should it work? Should I do this? And so we have created a resource that you can share, pick and choose what's relevant for you and send directly to your family. So all those resources will be created to ease those conversations for you. So a little bit more about Family Link. You know, one of the things we've heard a lot this past spring is that it's hard to keep an eye on the kids while they're learning at home and you are trying to work at home. So last year we introduced Family Link for Chromebooks. Family Link is an app that enables parents, like I said, to approve apps and set time limits, things like that. And it's been a huge help for parents at Chromebooks, but there was a catch, right? You couldn't access any of your school content in Google Classroom or Google Docs because that required you to sign into your kid's school account, not their Family Link account. So the good news is that we heard you, right? And now we're building a new feature, school accounts. So if you create a Google account for your kids and sign onto a Chromebook, then you can add a school account for that user. And this allows you to set ground rules for them and for them to use their Chromebook with the Family Link app so that they can do their schoolwork on G Suite, as well as other sites and extensions that use the Google School account. So that's a really big one for families. Any questions on any of that? I see some other lingering questions. What LMS is this available for? I think that's about assignments. So assignments is available for all LMSs that support LTI 1.1 and higher. So that's inclusive of things like a lot of the popular ones like Canvas, Blackboard, Moodle, Sakai, D2L, Schoology, all of them support 1.1 and higher. So it will be compatible with them. Alrighty, great. I will just move along. We have a couple more exciting things. We're going to talk today about some new teams at Google that we haven't talked about a ton before, and different apps that are out there to help support students as they are struggling with their homework at home. So the Search for Education team has released a ton of really cool stuff. We know so many queries about homework really start in Google search, you know, like starting to get an answer. And so that we're making that experience more robust. So first, we are going to make homework problems and the solutions to them a lot more discoverable on search. So helping students understand concepts and how surfacing the right information for them. And so we are growing a really large library specifically of STEM concepts, over 400 so far, where if you were to search something like Newton's Law, we will surface like a bunch of stuff for you to help you dive deeper into that topic. I'm also going to talk to you about how Google Lens and Socratic are creating a first-party math solver and a bunch of different high-quality explainers to help your students when they get stuck. Next one. Yeah, so this is what I mentioned, right? You type in a concept like the momentum formula. Now we will give students the ability to like have a much richer search experience when they're looking for help to try to understand some of these difficult concepts at home. So you can see here, we will surface some like question and answers. We'll show them some formulas, things like that. You will also be able to explore, like I mentioned, 400 different STEM topics, everything covered from physics, chemistry, and more. And we'll highlight and surface all of that relevant content for you. If you're more of a visual learner, we're also launching a ton of different AR experiences to help you get deeper with STEM things, right? So now you can see the mitochondria on your living room table. So you feel like you're really in there and understanding the concept a little bit deeper with augmented reality. Socratic and Google Lens. So those are two different apps. Socratic is a standalone app you can download off the App Store, and Google Lens is another app you will be able to, with their first-party math solver, take a picture of a math problem, and it'll help you walk you through all the steps, highlight key concepts, show you relevant YouTube videos, help you understand how to get to an answer. So it's not really just about like, what's the final number, but how do we get there, and what are the questions that come up along the way. Just one other thing I wanted to add, this isn't a product launch so much as a really exciting program launch. So our programs team has been hard at work. A lot of you have probably seen the distance learning course that came out to the Teacher Center a couple months ago, and that was really received really well. And so to complement that, we are now releasing a second version, which we're calling the Inspire Creativity through Learner Engagement. So it will really unlock a lot of amazing things for students as part of our commitment to provide ongoing support for trainers and educators during COVID. The Teacher Center will be launching this course to follow up on the previous one so that folks can get deeper learning experiences with more creativity, collaboration, and authentic learning. And these are kind of just like a preview of what like the 6 modules will look like. So you can see what is creativity, all the way to different important topics like social emotional learning. And this course will be available on August 17th is the current look right now. So before I hop into some logistics, let me see if there's any other questions. When will Family Link be available? I believe Family Link is available now, but I will double check for you. Will Google Translate available in Socratic? I don't believe Translate is part of Socratic, but that's a good question. Is Family Link applied to school managed Chromebooks? Yes, that's a really great question, Susanna. I actually don't work on Chromebooks. Morgan covers Chromebooks, and she unfortunately wasn't able to join us because she's feeling under the weather. So I will follow up on that question to make sure it's part of our FAQs. But great questions. All right, so in the interest of time, I will keep going. Now, that was a lot. I know I just threw a ton at you, so let's take a deep breath. And now I will dive into what are some of the logistics for the event and the resources, right? So that you can help us promote, share about the launches, as well as create content for your own followers and communities. So the first thing I would say, brass tacks about the event. If you haven't already, here's the link to register. So it's goo.gl/theanywhereschool. As I mentioned, across the world, we'll be doing a 24-hour thing, starting in the Americas, all the way to Asia Pacific with Europe, and then wrapping up with some LATAM content at the end. And if you go to this website, actually, here, you can see all of this information is really clearly laid out in a nice little schedule if you're wondering which things to tune in for. Sorry, I saw someone mentioned teasers on the chat. Okay, awesome. So the next one I want to talk to you guys about is blogs. Very exciting. So this week, Jenny Majira, if any of you guys are familiar with her, she's pretty popular on Twitter. We're working with her to create a couple of guest authored posts where we're working with these really incredible educators, and they're going to share their thoughts and perspectives on everything from general going back to school tips to equity and well-being in the classroom. And so we'll be sharing those this week as a lead up to sort of elevate some educator voices during this time. And then next Tuesday, we're going to share a blog that's a recap of every important thing that you need to know for back to school. So if you're not able to tune into the event, or you got other things going on and you just want to read the recap, that blog will cover everything for you. We're also going to release a blog about what's new in Classroom and Meet with specific dates about when those features are coming out and the roadmaps and how you can access them. We'll also have a blog with more information about assignments and originality reports updates. And then the following day, we will be releasing more about Chromebooks with all of these specifics, as well as how to support families with all of those resources, because we know that's been like a really stressful area for educators during this time and for families as well. And we'll also have a blog to directly speak to admins about all the new functionalities so that they can have better control and visibility into their school. All right, so I would say this is probably the most important slide in the presentation, so I'll make sure to bookmark this one for you guys, but there's 3 main resources that we've created to help us to spread the word. So the first one is, I I don't know if I can like click out of here, but we can cover it later if folks want to ask more questions. But we have created this really robust event promotional toolkit. So this is everything from inviting people to sign up for the event. I know a lot of you GEGs are hosting some amazing watch parties. So we've created things like watch party bingo and like what to bring to your watch party, like really fun assets so that you can make that super simple and easy. And we've written out bunch of different tweets so you can say it anyway to Sunday or in your own voice if that works for you. So that's really all about promoting the event. And we would love, love, love your help with that. I mean, it's the first time we're doing a big virtual event like this, and it's kind of just a big experiment for us, and would love your help and support to try to help improve those numbers. So the second resource I want to talk about is a product launch toolkit. So all those things I just talked to you about, you're probably thinking like, I can't even remember what all those were. How am I going to be able to post about them? We're going to make that really easy for you. We've created all the assets that you could need. Again, written out all the possible ways to describe the launches. You can use those, you can tweak them, you can write something entirely new, but just want to make it really easy for you to be able to talk about those launches that are relevant at your district and with your followers. And then finally, I have just created a package folder with all the assets you just saw. Perhaps you're like, oh, I write my own tweets, or I want to create my own one-pagers, all that. We've made it really easy for you to have the resources to do that. Alrighty, and just like a quick little preview of some of the things, like I mentioned for watch parties, I think this is super cute. You could post this, if you're hosting a watch party bingo, watch party checklist, a different way to promote, and you can put your GEG logo there, depending on where you guys are coming in from, so it can be personalized. And in the kit, we've made it super easy with instructions about how to download things, how to edit them, to personalize them, so that everything feels really unique to you. And of course, a lot of this stuff is going to ultimately live on the Teacher Center. So definitely just a reminder that we're working really fast and furious to upload new stuff to the Teacher Center and to continue to remind your folks to head there as really the best central place for all of these things and where they will live. All right, so I think I'm like a couple of minutes ahead of schedule. So I'll see if there's any questions in the chat that we can address before we play Kahoot, which is so fun. All right, any other questions? Otherwise, just give me a second and I'm going to pull up Kahoot. So let me just stop sharing my screen for a second because I realize I exit out. I'm gonna have to change the game pin. 1 minute. All right, so the Kahoot is up. So just follow these instructions, folks. Go to kahoot.it and join with the game pin 688106. And in the meantime, while everyone's joining, I will go ahead and answer some of these questions. All right, can you elaborate on Infinite Campus? Yes, so Infinite Campus is an SIS that we've partnered with. And so we'll make it super easy once you turn on that integration. For all the grades that you add to Classroom, we'll sync directly to your SIS, so you don't have to double enter things anymore. Where can we see the links for the toolkits? So I will send around a email after all of this that will link to the deck that I just went over, as well as all of those resources for you, so it makes it super easy. Is there a classroom manual for students? That's a good question. We don't have something like that. It's been pretty focused on creating resources for parents and families, as well as educators and admins. But if that's something that we find is a super common thing, we can look at building something like that in the future. Yes, and the Kahoot is actually really fun. My team said, we played it the other day and they said it was the most fun they've ever had in a team meeting. So I would encourage you to join. We're up to already 55 players, which is awesome. So I'll just give it a few more minutes. I'll wait till 12:45 my time. And they have different music choices so you can play along. I assume you guys can't hear my sound, right? I think it just shares the screen because Kahoot plays some really fun music. Just jamming out by myself. Okay, great. So it sounds like there's a lot of love in the chat for something focused on students. That's a good note. We'll definitely work on something like that in the next few weeks. All right, I'll just give it one more minute. And then we'll get going. Oh, no music for you. I'm so sad. It is pretty fun. Yeah, I think it's just a limitation of the streaming service. All right, let me give one more minute and then I'll close it off. All right, cool. Well, let's get started. Welcome to Google for EDU's Back to School Challenge. We are going to get started now with the first question. And all this is just fun. Don't worry, you won't get tested if you get it wrong. The question is, when is the Anywhere School? August 11th, the 12th to the 13th, the 12th, the 11th to the 12th? I was going to say there are no wrong answers, but there actually, in fact, are wrong answers. So. Alrighty. Okay, I think we had some pretty low participation on that question. Maybe that one came in too fast. I think we only got a few answers. Is anyone having questions? Is anyone having problems with it? It looks like we only got 5 answers and there were 65 players. Or is everyone good? I can just move on to the next one. All right. That's weird. You didn't get the answer choices? The delay in Kahoot. I ran out of time. I didn't see answer choices. Huge delay. I'm getting locked out. Interesting. Let me. Uh-oh, that's not good. Let me see if I can. Can you guys see the question? That's weird. Can you see this question? Okay, a lag between StreamYard and YouTube. All right, that's okay. Can you guys see question 3? Who is the non-Google or keynote speaker? Okay, we got a little more participation on that one. My option timed out. It's better if you set it as a challenge rather than live. You can see the questions on the screen as we go. Here, let me see. Here, guys, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to do, sorry, Amanda, if you don't mind pulling me out of the thing, I'm just going to try to do some tech.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me now? Wonderful. So I was just saying on mute before someone told me that I was on mute. Thank you for that. That while Lauren works on this, I just wanted to let you guys know that we will be sending a follow-up email to this group as well as an FAQ doc where you guys can get more information about the details since you may have questions as well. So that will be coming very shortly. We'll likely send that today or early tomorrow. So that will hit your inboxes soon. All right, with that, I will bring Lauren back on. Hey, Lauren.
Okay, I'm hearing from some people that you'd rather do a sign. Let me do that. Give me 1 second.
Hey, Teresa. I see some coaches on the call. Okay, and since I get to be on screen and I have time to make a shameless plug, the other new thing that is not a product, but that we also did launch recently is our certified coach program. We have some coaches on the call. So for those of you who are interested in checking it out, if you are an instructional coach working one-on-one with teachers, that's also in our teacher center. And we'd love for you guys to come be part of our group. So there's my shameless plug.
All right, so I think this is a little bit of a bust. That's okay. We're all doing some experimentation here. I just sent in the link to do the Kahoot challenge, and this way it's assigned for you, and shared that game pin. So you will have up until Friday to complete this, and we'll see how many people participate. Maybe we can send a little prize to the winner. But sorry about that, guys. It was the first time we've done this with an outside group, so sorry it was a little difficult. Maybe some technical challenges because of all the rain here on my side. But I'll let you guys play that on your own to sort of test your knowledge. But otherwise, anything else that I can cover that would be helpful for everyone during this time?
Lauren, what's the one thing you want this group to do when they hang up as it pertains to today's session?
That's a good question. I would probably say to help promote the event. That would be great. We'd love to have as many different educators and school leaders as there as possible. So if you go to resource number 1, the event promotion kit, that would be like the best thing that everyone could support us on.
Wonderful. All right. We hope to see you guys there. And I will just let you guys know, Lauren mentioned this, but May, who's backstage, did an amazing job working with our friends at Future Design School to put together some really interesting sessions that are going to be part of that event. So I think all of the sessions are going to be amazing, but needed to give a shout out to May. And I think for this group, you might be particularly interested in those. And they're just after some of the really awesome keynotes that are happening in the morning. So check out the schedule on the registration page. You'll be able to see everything. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And sorry for being my guinea pigs as I'm figuring out this Kahoot lifestyle. But be sure to check out the assigned one. It's pretty fun. And as always, we really appreciate all of your support and can't wait to see you at the event.
All right. Thanks, everyone.